GearNetwork.com. This is a Gear Network production.
You're listening to Better Live Than Dead.
I believe it's a big challenge for our building to keep things in perspective and to, if we're going to get addicted to anything, let's get addicted to the process.
And with that, we welcome you to Trust the Podcast, episode number 30. As you can tell right now, I am currently in the depths of my job. I didn't realize there was a ringing phone in this office until I sat down and the phone started to ring. That being said, I am Ryan Wolfe at Wolfe BLTD, joined on the line, the Undercard Media Hotline, by Brayton at BJ Wilson WGR on Twitter. How you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How about yourself there, Mr. Wolfe?
Doing well. Very busy at the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 5, I guess, would be more accurate. Here to talk about the Bills and the Patriots. The Buffalo Bills fell to the New England Patriots. It was not good. I did not edit the top half of the podcast. I got everything else taken care of except for the actual result. The Buffalo Bills, what was it, 26 to 5? Not 26 to 5, 26 to 6 or 25 to 6.
25 to 6.
There we go. My phone loads up as you say it. Thank you, Brayton. I really appreciate you there. 25 to 6 was the final. The Bills held strong most of the game, then allowed 13 points in the fourth quarter. The bend but don't break defense finally broke, unfortunately, because, what else were they going to do at that point in time? Brayton, I know my computer right now, just a kind of a fourth wall thing here. I have 25% remaining on my tablet, which I'm currently talking through because things just don't want to work the way that they should. So we'll just roll with it, and I just want to jump right into the three big things here because there is a lot to talk about this week. First off, the first of three big things, meet the Bills offense a black hole. And that's kind of more of a meaning now than anything because first off, Derek Anderson, 22 for 39, 290 yards and a pick, left the game late. What we thought was some sort of arm or shoulder injury. Turns out he has a concussion. He's in concussion protocol, and he most likely will not be starting this weekend. The Bills have signed quarterback Matt Barkley to back up Nathan Peterman, which brings me to my next point. Nathan Peterman will be under center most likely on Sunday. He was 2 for 2 on Sunday, though. 23 yards, which Brayton, sit down for this one. He raised his career passer rating from 29.9 to 31.4. So I guess he's got that going for him. Did I lose him?
No, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say Nathan Peterman's got that going for him. I don't know really what else to say about that. It's not good.
Yeah,
it's not good for the Buffalo Bills offense. It's tough to watch because Nathan Peterman's going to be starting again on Sunday. Derek Anderson, I think, what is it? Their fifth quarterback now because they had Peterman, they had Allen, McCarron, Anderson, and now Matt Barkley. So they're on their fifth quarterback. So even though the quarterbacks have been very bad, the fact that they're on their fifth quarterback is kind of crazy.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough when you have three starting quarterbacks in one season, but the Bills could certainly, depending on how Nathan Peterman pans out this week, they could potentially have their fourth starting quarterback of the season, which would be just even more of a ridiculous thing to say just because Matt Barkley hasn't started a game in quite some time, and he's only got 6 career starts, I think he has, and he's never been really that good of a quarterback. So, I mean, we'll see how Nathan Peterman looks this week against Chicago, but if he certainly falters and he certainly throws interceptions again, we're going to see Matt Barkley in action, and then maybe he'll be the starting quarterback until further notice.
Well, either way, I'm very pleased that I have the Chicago Bears defense in fantasy football. I know no one cares about my fantasy team, but I just must say that it was nice to jump on and see the point differential from when Derek Anderson was supposed to be starting to when they said that Nathan Peterman might be starting because I think the Bears defense in my fantasy league are roughly expected to get about 14 or 15 points. So that's just punched my computer. That's very good. And if Khalil Mack is healthy, we know he missed last week with an ankle sprain. We'll talk about that here shortly. But boy, is it going to be tough this weekend. Anyways, I want to move over to the second of the three big things this week. The stats are going to really carry the podcast this week. just because of, obviously, with Monday Night Football, it kind of kicked us back. So that's why we're doing it during the day here on Halloween. Happy Halloween, by the way. Stats of the game, Tim Graham of The Athletic points out, the Bills lose despite holding the Belichick and Brady-era Patriots to less than 80 yards and an 86.0 passer rating with no passing touchdowns, and only the second time in Brady's career that he had at least 320 passing yards and no passing touchdowns. Per @SN Stats on Twitter, Tom Brady now stands alone as having the most quarterback wins, 15, in Buffalo since 2001, passing Drew Bledsoe, who had 14. Per @Sean PBB, the Bills have 3 passing touchdowns all season. The league has had 58 individual quarterback performances of 3 or more passing touchdowns so far this season. Per @MySportsUpdate, the Bills have thrown more touchdown passes to opposing teams, 2, than they have to their own team, 1 in the last 5 weeks. A good friend of the pod, Will, pointed out on Facebook, I saw this. The Bills are one of 9 teams in the past 20 seasons, to score 3 or fewer passing touchdowns through 8 regular season games. And as mentioned, the Bills have 3 passing touchdowns, and the Bills allegedly had 3 dildos thrown on the field on Sunday. And a Florida man was actually arrested for doing just that. So, I guess it all can't go right for you, but at least you got that going for you, Bills fans.
Yeah, it's not pretty. Man, just everything that's going on with this offense has been anemic. It's been a nightmare. The offense can't score points. They can't get to the end zone. They can't figure out what they're doing with the football. I mean, they're so also easily readable that, and it's not even funny to watch these guys just try and produce something, to try and to get something going, because they may make a couple of nice plays, but then next thing you know, they're throwing an interception, or they're getting, a fumble, or, it just seems like nothing can go right for this offense in a season where, hey, they just made the playoffs last year. Maybe they can, put up some sort of magical run again. They're a playoff team now, finally, and they look anything but a playoff team. They look like a team that might be the worst in the history of the NFL in terms of offense. So it's certainly not pretty, and the quarterback situation is not going to be any better. Unless Nathan Peterman doesn't throw any interceptions, this could get very ugly even further along, because we don't even know if Josh Allen's going to be back. He hasn't been throwing the ball at all with his injury to his elbow. So we'll see where it goes. But I mean, if this continues, the numbing sensation that I'm feeling right now with the Bills right now, where I really don't feel anything, it's just going to be magnified even more if that really makes sense.
I hear you. I feel the same way. We do the podcast every single week, whether it's at my work, in my car, at your work, in your car, at home, whatever it may be. It's the same. We always feel like we're just a broken record. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If this Bills offense was average, not even good, average, 200, 225, if it was, I hate to say this, but if it was the same offense with Tyrod Taylor running it, this team would probably have 4 or 5 wins. They would be in at least wild card contention at this point in time, I would have to say, just because, with how they played on Monday night, if you had a decent offense, you could have won that game. There were a few games where if they had consistent offensive performance, you would win those games. So I feel like we're repeating ourselves week after week after week, and we keep doing this podcast because we know you enjoy it, and we enjoy it as well. But again, very difficult to keep talking about the same stuff and trying to make sense of it. And there's no doubt there about that. It's just.
I also just want to bring up Pat Barkley's stats here, because I'd mentioned a little bit beforehand. So yeah, you think that Nathan Peterman is really bad? Matt Barkley's not going to be much better. So in his career, since being drafted by the Eagles in 2013, he started 8 NFL games. He's thrown 8 touchdowns, which not bad. It's 1 per game. That's at least better than what the Bills have done. But he's also thrown 18 interceptions. So take that for what it's worth. That's an average of,
if nothing else,
over 3 per game.
So if nothing else, he fits the scheme that they were trying to accomplish, and that is being really bad all the time. That's what the Buffalo Bills offense does. And you know what? That's the one thing I talked about with John last week. Brayton, I'll bring it up real quick. You know, the Bills have the cap room. The Bills have the picks. The Bills have all the stuff going in their direction to make some sort of big offensive jump this offseason. But at what point in time do you say, are these guys capable of making the right moves and making the right calls? They've done it defensively. The defense is decent. Some regression, but that is going to happen year to year. But you wonder, are they going to be able to make the right moves, pick up the right guys, and fill the system the right way? So when Josh Allen's ready to make the next step, or whoever is under center makes the next step, they'll be able to make the step because those players will be adequate enough. That's the one thing that worries me watching the Bills go out. I mean, the quarterback market is not very deep, but the quarterbacks they keep going out and getting are all just horrible. And I don't know if it's just we're just going to sign it because it's a necessity thing, or they're actually going out and saying Matt Barkley is the best option available for us because, dear God, if that's the case.
Yeah, that's not good. And my math is off. I can't compute today. He's averaging just over 2 interceptions per game. I said 3, but I keep having the thought that he started 6 NFL games. So my bad.
That's okay. We're not mathematicians here. We're only podcastaticians here. That's okay.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of disappointment, let's talk about LaShawn McCoy, our third of 3 big things this week. His quest for 11,000 yards continues at a very, 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 very slow pace. 12 rushes for 13 yards, and he wasn't traded, so he'll be with the Buffalo Bills for the rest of the season, and at least the rest of the season, if not beyond. He remains 29th all-time with 10,336 yards, but he's now 30 behind Marshawn Lynch for 28th place. Eddie George is the next retired player still, 27th place with 10,441 yards. And Brayton, our newest segment, the quest for the highest pick. If the season were end today, which obviously we know it won't, the Super Bowl is not played on Halloween, although that would be pretty dope if it was. But the Buffalo Bills would pick 4th overall. So they're I guess if there's some sort of silver lining, if they're going to be bad, at least they're going to get a high pick, which will most likely be spent on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk that the best players in this draft are all defensemen. Like a lot of them in the top 10 are defensemen. So yeah, it's if the Bills do have a top pick like that, they're probably going to take a defensive player, and we should just all accept that. I mean, and it's unfortunate because, you know, this year we don't have the 2 first-round picks. We only have the 1, and wherever we end up, unless we manage to try and trade a top player for a first-round pick, which is very unlikely. But I mean, yeah, just it's going to be unfortunate because there's probably going to be some decent offensive players later in the draft that, you know, the good teams will be able to pick up, and then, you know, teams like the Bills and some of the other teams up above, you know, some teams that don't necessarily need the defensive help. I don't know. It's going to be very difficult to swallow if the Bills get a top pick and then their best option is a defensive tackle or a pass rusher. Just one of those things where it's just like, I want no part. I want to get a top wide receiver, but those top wide receivers are not valued like that at all. So, you know, we'll see where everything lies out. We've still got months to go until the NFL draft, and, you know, and we'll talk a lot about prospects and talk a lot about what the Bills need from here until next April. But, you know, it just at this point, it's kind of depressing that we have to talk about the draft so early and really kind of try and anticipate who's going to be available and what the Bills can target.
Hey, maybe they'll get Nick Bosa, and then their goal will just be to murder other teams' quarterbacks. I mean, that's, you know, in a day and age where you're not allowed to hit the quarterback, just load up on pass rushers. You know, just keep doing that, and maybe someday you'll strike gold. But I get so frustrated. I'm still so frustrated with this team. But I guess you just got to remember that sports don't matter, and we're all going to die someday. So I guess that's the positive in this whole scenario.
That's one way to look at it.
I'm always looking on the bright side of life. The glass is always half full when you're talking to me. Now, looking ahead, brought to you by 26 Shirts. They still have Buffalo Volume 5, Shirt 26, still the Ralph available through November 4th. Benefits Peyton Longo, as we talked about last week. Could really use some assistance with, I believe it's Bethlehem myopathy is how you pronounce it. and it's a form of, I think, muscular dystrophy, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. But it's not covered by insurance companies, so any help that they can get, pick up a shirt if you can, and really help out that fantastic cause. Now moving on to Week 9, the Buffalo Bills take on the Chicago Bears, who are 4-3. My first statement here is just whelp, because the Bears defense, even with Khalil Mack with a sprained ankle day-to-day, missed last week, he has 5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles, a one-man wrecking crew for sure on that defensive line. The Bears have the 7th best defense in the league according to yards per game. They allow 329.6 per game. The Bills actually are 6th, allowing 329.1 yards per game. Now, for me, Brayton, the X factor will be the defense, but that's an easy one. So my offensive X factor, if the Bills can stop Tariq Cohen, they'll be okay. Now, Tariq Cohen is Alvin Kamara light, essentially. He's got 43 rushes for 224 yards, 30 receptions for 398 yards, and 4 total touchdowns. For me, if they can't stop him, it's going to be a very long day in Orchard Park.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what to even say about this matchup. Just, the defense against Nathan Peterman, I'm just praying that Peterman does not end up throwing a handful of interceptions before he's mercifully pulled for Matt Barkley, who will most likely throw more interceptions for the team. Just find a way to get to the end zone for once. I'm tired of having to talk about how the Bills can't find the end zone and can't score more than, 3 or 6 points or 5 points. How many points that they want to score, whatever. But, they have to find more ways to score points than Casey or having Steven Hauschka. So just an awful matchup for the Bills this week against the Bears, who I think surprised many by being the leading team in the NFC North. And, I think when it's all said and done, I think Mitch Trubisky will, he'll be held in check, and the Bears will be held in check with their offense. But I mean, I'm still not confident with what the Bills have to offer on offense. So I guess with this pick, I'm going to go with the Bears, and I think they're going to win 21-6.
Now you cut out there. So you said the Bears 21-6. 21-6. Okay, so
no touchdowns still.
I'm looking here. No touchdowns. The Florida man who was arrested was charged with disorderly conduct, pled not guilty. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Anyways, yeah, I think Money Mitch, that's his nickname, right? He'll get. He may not have a great day, but I do think the Bears will come out on top. You're probably looking at another game where the Bills maybe score a touchdown. I'll say 24-7. The Bears win. Just do me a favor, Bills. Try not to get a scoregami again, because it seems like every time you lose, Buffalo, you're always losing historically. So it's like, the Bills lose 1-75. We've never had this score happen in the history of football. And it's like, that's just even more embarrassing. So try to score some points. I mean, do something, because you're just, whatever you're doing right now, not working very well. And I'm not really sure where to go from here. The Bills are bad. We know that. We're here each and every single week to talk about it. You can follow Brayton at BJ Wilson WGR. You can follow me at WolfBLTD on Twitter. You can hear the podcast on Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, YouTube, wherever you may listen. Subscribe, comment on the podcast. Let us know what you think. Let us know how bad you think the Bills are. We'll also respond saying we agree, most likely. But with that being said, Brayton, I do appreciate you taking the time today to join me during your busy work day.
I appreciate you for having me on once again with the podcast. It's always refreshing talking to you, even if we have to talk about a very, 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 very bad Bills football team.
It is always nice to catch up, and hey, maybe we'll do a Sabercast this weekend if we play our cards right. And just for those wondering, only down to 15% on my battery, so my battery life is real good on this little tablet thing. We made it to the end of the podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. We will catch you sometime very soon. As always, we say, unfortunately, go Bills.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network. Hey everyone, you like the music that you hear? Whether it's a background music on the commercial, a selection from either Brandon or myself on Football Talk Weekly, myself on TJCMS, or maybe the Turnbuckle Talk Radio podcast, folks, play the wrestling theme that you just dig and you want to hear over and over and over again. Well, I'll tell you what, Gear Network can hook you up with Amazon Music Unlimited 30-day free trial. You can listen to tens of millions of songs, any song, anywhere, with new releases from today's most popular artist. You can listen to it ad-free with unlimited skips. And the best part, the most awesome part, you can save that data if you're still on one of them tiered data plans like I am. You can download it for offline listening. Better yet, if you have Amazon Echo at home, because I know you do, you can just ask Alexa to play whatever song you want, and they'll do it for you, just like that. It's kind of crazy. After the 30-day trial, you're really going to like this. The price for this is amazing. $7.99 a month or $79 a year for an individual plan for Prime members, or $14.99 a month, $149 a year for a family plan for Prime members. Or if you just want to go with just the Echo, because you like the Echo, you have the Echo at your house, and you want to just do an Echo plan, hey, $3.99 a month. You can't go wrong there. If you're also a student, you get a discount as well. Head to GearNetwork.com. On the top bar, it says Support the Shows. Under Shop Amazon, you will find the Amazon Music Unlimited free trial link right there, and you can click that and sign up for a free 30-day trial of Amazon Music Unlimited. This podcast does receive a special bonus if you do sign up and use the 30 days, even if you don't keep it. So it helps us out tremendously. But if Amazon is not your thing as well, right to the left of Support the Shows is the donate button, and we accept PayPal in any denomination. As always, thank you for your likes, your shares, your listens, your support, your shopping through Amazon, your donates through PayPal on GearNetwork.com.